Like, when has this been your entire life?
It's since I was since I was a teenager. It was like right after I was at the end of 8th grade. A friend's dad was playing like an album of Dylan covers in the van. And a couple of them like really caught my ear, and he said, he recommended a couple of songs to me. So right after, about a week later, I moved to Atlanta, had $10 in Media Play, the CD store, and got a copy of Bringing It All Back Home with it, and ended up there's always just so much more to find out. It was just such a long, deep dive. I remember going through the albums at Best Buy and thinking, well, probably nobody has all of them.
Right.
Now I know that many people have all of them, and for kids now, it's so easy to just do a deep dive. It's not much of an investment to get all of these songs.
So funny.
So yeah, it was just one thing led to another. I saw my first concert about 6-7 months later, and thereafter he toured so much that I had many other opportunities to see him. And yeah, there's always another book coming out, another meetup you can go to, another resurfaced studio track that got buried in the 60s or something is always being discovered. There's always new stuff.
Well, I've always been a fan of Joan Baez, and I didn't realize any of that. Like I didn't honestly. I had no comprehension of, and I think the movie did a beautiful job. Obviously, it's fictional with bringing Woody Guthrie.
It's a movie.
Yes, I'm not like Ed Norton. I don't think much. I don't. He doesn't pop into my mind often. How's that, right? He was extraordinary.
Yeah, he nailed Pete Seeger.
Unfreaking believable.
Yeah.
So I have been going on deep dives about all of them. And I really love, what Joan Baez has come to understand about her relationship, what she wanted from Bob Dylan. She wanted him to be the face of the movement, and she realized that his music was that was enough to be their armor.
Right. He never felt comfortable as a spokesman for things.
Right.
At least he learned that instead of just being like Chappell Roan and just making a jerk of yourself.
Well, he let it, like he said.
Yeah, it's all in the music. I mean, he played at the Obama White House a couple times. He played for the Clinton White House. He played on a Howard Zinn special. We can deduce his general politics.
Right. And I had no idea. I had no idea about Pete Seeger being blacklisted in the 50s and basically staying away from the limelight because, that what he had done, he refused to testify or answer questions at the hearings. I'm absolutely fascinated. And it made me think about what we're going through now and what happened at the Super Bowl and the halftime performance. Now, did you watch it? I know I
didn't see it, honestly.
So I'm fascinated.
Big supporter of Kendrick Lamar, but I was at a bar for geeks where I guess they might have had it on.
Yeah.
But nobody was watching.
Is it called a bar for geeks? Because I would go to that bar.
No, but I'll tell you what it is later.
Okay, fine. I did not watch it either. So, but the people who I know, like there are people who think that Michelle Obama's a man, right? Those kinds of folks who like, this is disgusting. I don't know. This is horrible. Like I saw their stuff on Facebook. So I was like, oh, let me check it out. And then there's like deep dives, right? Yeah. And I am fascinated by it, like because Samuel L. Jackson, who comes out as Uncle Sam, has been deeply intertwined with the civil rights movement. He was an usher at MLK Jr.'s funeral. And so like having him there and sort of like the layers of it are absolutely fascinating to me. But it made me realize, it's in this moment in history, in this moment in time when people don't know where to turn. Like there are artists out there who are speaking it, who are giving you some of the tools to get you, to at least when you come up for air, when it's too depressing, when you see what's going on with the state's attorney in the Southern District of New York, or what's happening with apparently the State Department's going to buy $400 million in Tesla armored trucks, and people on my Facebook page who are like, that was already approved under Biden, only they cut cancer research. Yeah. And you guys, like...
Yeah, cancer research was approved under Biden, too.
Yes.
Now they've just kind of given Elon Musk a line-item veto.
Right. But not his own contracts. And people are like, oh, well, they suspended it.
Well, he could cancel those if he wanted to, I guess.
Exactly.
But he's just not gonna.
Well, they're burying it. They're taking the name Tesla off, but there's still the $400 million dedicated to armored vehicle, whatever. And I think, I don't know if you were listening to the AP, where I think Donald said that these other countries can slash their defense budgets. How about ours? Sorry, was that too loud? Was that too loud? That was a lot. Anyway, so... Yeah. So how you doing, Adam? Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
You know.
What are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm working on, tonight, right after this, I got to rush home to do a virtual tour about swindlers and con artists and gamblers from Chicago history.
Interesting.
And we'll be talking about things like the shell game and the Ponzi scheme and the old poop bucket switcheroo. That one comes up early on.
I'm sorry. The poop bucket switcheroo?
Yeah, there was, it was how Yellow Kid Weil claimed to get his start. He was probably the biggest con artist in Chicago history, or at least he claimed to be, but he's got a whole autobiography. The movie The Sting was largely based on stuff from his autobiography. His co-writer tried to sue. And some of the stuff does not hold up to fact-checking. He was, after all, a con artist.
Right.
But in his story, he said the way he got his start is he was with Doc Merriweather's medicine show, where he was selling a tapeworm cure, where he would have people come up and say, now, sir, if you're having stomach problems, what your problem is a tapeworm, and I've got this special elixir. If you'll just drink some of this and then step behind the curtain. And imagine how good of a con artist you have to be that all the other people gathered are going to stay when somebody goes to poop in a bucket behind the curtain.
Oh, my God.
Meanwhile, the Yellow Kid, as he would later call himself, had a peeled potato peel to look like a tapeworm, would switch out the bucket with another one that had the potato peel in it, and they'd pull out like, here's your tapeworm, sir. You have just expelled it.
What?
So, and Doc Merriweather turns up on a number of lists of the greatest con artists, despite the fact that he probably did not exist. The only evidence I think that he existed at all is just the Yellow Kid stories. So he's still swindling us from beyond the grave.
Wow, that is the virtual tour.
Yeah, that'll be a virtual tour. You go on the Mysterious Chicago Facebook page. That's the easiest thing to find. Or like adamchicago.com, you can get a link to. There's a Twitch version. There'll be a YouTube one. The most lively conversation and the best hang is still on the Facebook so far.
Fair enough. So it's at 8 o'clock tonight. It's the virtual tour, Mysterious Chicago.
Yep, and we'll talk about how Michael McDonald, the gambler, had all the Chicago mayors by the shorties.
Really?
And he was really the real power behind the throne for a good decade in Chicago.
Holy moly. That's Adam Selzer. You can also go to adamchicago.com.
Yep, adamchicago.com. There'll be a link right at the top to upcoming virtual tours. One of them is a virtual tour, Swindlers, Gamblers, and Con Artists in Chicago History.
Excellent. We'll take a break here. The phone lines are open, 773-763-9278. We're going to take a break here and continue our conversation with Adam Selzer. And he is an author, historian, tour guide, and during the pandemic really kept a lot of people with their heads above water when things were super crazy. And now they're crazy again.
That's why people are crazy, times are strange.
That's right. Let's take a break here and continue on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And also our text screen. Don't forget you can text us as well, 773-763-9278, or call the same number.
Hey, looking for a winning team on a winning station? You found it right here on WCPT 820 AM. Join the marvelous one, Dan Marver, the palacious one, Paul Shivari, Sports on the Couches, Mike Mercado, and yours truly, Devin Tingle, every Sunday at 9 p.m. for the Sports Cubicle, where the inmates run the asylum, and the boss, well, they yell at us on Monday morning because we're working overtime. Looking for your late night dose of sports talk radio? We're here. Join us on the Sports Cubicle, Sunday nights at 9 p.m.
In a new Porsche, performance, style, and class come together to elevate every drive. Come find your new Porsche from the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park today. Stop in to test drive the latest models, including a new 2025 Porsche Cayenne. And right now, lease a new 2025 Macan for $899 a month for 39 months. Visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. 8729 to its signing. Excludes tax, title, license, and dock fee. No security deposit required. Expires 2/28/25.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Joining us as we continue to drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, hanging out in the studio with Adam Selzer, author, historian, tour guide. His tour tonight is at 8 o'clock. It's a virtual tour, and you can go to Mysterious Chicago on Facebook to join that tour. One of my favorite gamblers, aside from my dad, is on the line. Jim from Chicago is on the air. Hey, Jim, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Patty. First of all, let me wish your mother a happy birthday.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, Roosevelt, I have to say, is the last soldier of the Spanish-American War, and it seems like I don't know. I hope he doesn't put up the white flag. But they're finally going to build a monument to the 7 million people that died of COVID. Why they're getting around to it now, they didn't get around to it early. I couldn't believe that America didn't have a monument to the million people we lost. But remember, this was Republicans said this was game of function. This was the doctor that engineered this. He did it deliberately to kill 7 million people. Now, this is what they want you to believe. I mean, this is absurd. The world has got. And in the meantime, Trump is selling everybody down the river. The Palestinians, the Ukrainians, anybody he can sell down the river, he's selling down the river. They just had an interview in Kiev today. Two of the older people said, well, this is just an incredible disgrace because we've lost so many young men in this war. We fought so hard for our autonomy. And then you have a young kid who was just off TikTok. He said, I don't know, according to TikTok, Trump is a great scout. If anybody can bring about peace, it's Trump because he knows the art of the deal. Now, this is what these kids are brainwashed, obviously brainwashed. Mm-hmm. But when you consider Hedgewitz, this maniac who gave that report in front of the UN, and all the ministers in Europe walked away saying, is this guy insane or what?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Is he drinking again or what?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, we support Ukraine with all of our weapon systems, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. I don't want to go through the whole ordeal. And he's going to sell them down the river to an absolute murdering. Yep. I mean, Putin is a murderer in spades. He's thrown more people out the window, poisoned more people, put more people in prison. And then, real quick, he traded Trump traded a guy, a crypto guy. He probably loves the crypto guy. Him and his wife love crypto. He stole millions and millions of dollars from people in America with the crypto scheme. He released them for some prisoners they had there. I mean, we're living in the dark ages of America.
We're living in the age of the scammer baron.
Well, yeah, but it's almost like you want to go with the fall of Rome in the 5th century when the Irish saved civilization. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is we're in the dark ages here. And Republicans, remember, he said that the Almighty God saved him from the assassin's bullet, and that's why he was here to save America. But that's what they trump this rhetoric all day long, the Republicans. They believe. And remember, Johnson has got the 10 Commandments in front of his office. I mean, they believe that this guy is a Masonic character who's here to save America, and it's the war against Democrats. That's what the war is about, is Democrats. I know you guys are going up to Wisconsin. How much do you think Musk is spending to get this judge elected up in Wisconsin? Can you imagine?
I don't know. Have we seen any evidence of him spending there? Or is it something you even have to think about?
Yeah, he'll be. Yeah, sure. He's talked about it already on his social page. He's going to get this judge elected one way or the other, but he's got to spend a couple of billion dollars. He's going to do it. So that's what you're up against when you go up there. But I wish you the best of luck, you and Patty.
But they got bratwurst, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, it turns out
you won't. I guarantee you won't flip for a bratwurst sandwich. That I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is just the dark ages in America. Anyway, you guys take care.
Thanks, Jim. Well, apparently there's more. I mean, obviously we know that there are a lot of local races going on, and conservatives are pouring money into school board races too.
Right.
Like Wauwatosa.
They've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, and so my concern and what's hard to wrap my mind around in Wisconsin is even how to claw that back as far as how much they've given away to the charter school programs, to parochial schools.
Yeah.
All these school districts have been completely destabilized by inefficient funding for their public schools, for transportation, for special education. And when you give all that money to schools that can just basically start up in a strip mall and close 6 months later after they've taken all the funds.
Right.
and then some people are clamoring for more. They don't want to give the public schools more money. I don't know how Wisconsin rights that ship with the public school funding, because I know that Kirk Bangstad, tried bringing a case. The Minocqua Brewing Company owner brought a lawsuit against the state of Wisconsin for what they were doing with charter schools, and the Supreme Court of Wisconsin refused to hear it. So and that's with a 1+ liberal on the bench.
Yep.
So I don't know how you fix that. At any rate, it's not great.
It's not. It's not great.
It's not great. So how you doing, Adam?
Other than that, I conquered Mountain Trashmore this morning.
Did you go sledding?
I went sledding this morning. Well, the thing is, the snow that fell yesterday is very, very powdery snow. It's very, very slippery. Mount Trashmore is a landfill in Evanston it was built to be a ski lift. They took away the ski stuff now, and you're not supposed to sled on it, but people do.
Right.
And so I every year when there's enough snow, I do some virtual sledding for my morning mini tours. So Mountain Trashmore is something people look forward to every year. And I was only able to mountaineer up about halfway up because I kept slipping. The ground was so slippery. But I sledded down. In fact, I did it twice, once for Facebook and once for the gram. Hurt my elbow pretty good.
Whoa.
Went rolling off, sprayed a lot of snow all over the place, but I conquered Mount Trashmore.
Congratulations on that.
So there's that.
Well, my husband said yesterday that it was good sledding snow, but
it was good sledding snow if you could make it up to the top of the hill.
Yes.
It was not good climbing snow.
No, because it's too slippery. As you mentioned.
Very slippery.
Yeah, because it's not good for your knees, man. You gotta be careful.
No,
we're not kids anymore.
Yes, I am.
I know. In our minds, we are.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying my best.
Hymns.com is giving me lots of great solutions. No, they've given me lots of things to have anxiety about.
Oh boy, I try not to. I don't doom scroll as much. Like obviously, I'm a bit in a vacuum.
Yeah.
On my own page, we have attracted a lot of vitriol. We're being barraged by people with a lot of hatred, calling us a lot of really. Someone slid into my DMs and said, "Stop being a liberal whore," like that kind of stuff. Other things like, "Why don't you kill yourself?" kind of stuff, and then those get reported. Obviously, somebody saying that I'll be removed from the planet, which is a weird thing to say.
I thought the rapture was going to remove everybody else from the planet.
So you bring up something interesting. This was something that came up when Bush was in office. Like these little rumblings about, why we're doing what we're doing in Israel and Gaza, the people who believe that we need to have Israel as part of the rapture.
Right.
And although I did appreciate this one, there's a funny little video. Somebody does a time travel. They come back in like 2072 and they're like, did everyone make it? And what happened? Was there an apocalypse? And this guy was like, no, Jesus came back and he took all the Christians, so now everything's good. I was just like, oh boy, yikes.
Well, when I lived in Georgia in the 90s, it was a very common bumper sticker: in case of rapture, this car will be unmanned. And I didn't, I grew up outside of the evangelical bubble enough that I didn't realize they all thought they were just going to disappear one day. But there was another, like once or twice I saw the sticker: in case of rapture, I'm taking your car.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's the thing is I find the humor where I can, but folks are definitely. I've never understood. I still, and Joan talks about this a lot. I've never seen such sore losers and winners.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and the thing, like, I get a lot of "shut up, go away." Did they go away and shut up when? That's what I keep asking. They're like, "Did you shut up when?" I mean, like, what? Why? Why should I shut up?
Yeah.
I mean, like, don't you enjoy?
It's like, obviously it bothers you that I just exist. So if I'm wrecking your day, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not like coming into your space and trying to wreck your day or anything. I'm not here to troll you.
Right, they're coming onto my page.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because, for whatever reason, I think because I still have some leftover followers from WGN Radio, right? So my page is just the Patti Vasquez show page. So there's presumably there's several thousand people who were there from before I came to WCPT. So I probably, because by the way the algorithm works, I'm probably popping up on conservative pages as well. Right?
Yeah.
Or for politics or whatever. So they get very angry that I'm there. And it's just like, I'm not angry that conservatives exist. I just am angry at how they behave. Mm-hmm. right? So you can exist. I just wish that you were a better person.
Yeah.
That's all. If you wish that I thought like you do, we can wish all we want. Now I just got to keep doing the work. We're in studio with Adam Selzer. You can check out Mysterious Chicago tonight on Facebook for his virtual tour. The name of it tonight is
Virtual Swindlers, Gamblers, and Con Artists from Chicago History. We've had so many colorful characters,
Yes. I wish
these guys would have loved crypto so much.
Ooh, let's talk a little bit about that when we come back, because I saw a pice that Rick Perlstein shared, or like just a post, but I want to share that in a moment on WC.
I bump into Rick now and then.
Yeah. He's a good dude. I have to have him on.
We got the same barber.
I should have you on together.
Yeah, we should. Definitely.
I like that. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. We'll see clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 2 degrees, southwest winds up to 25 miles an hour, a little bit of light snow late in the day Friday, very little in the way of accumulation, with a high temperature around 28, south winds at up to 30 miles an hour. Saturday, snow and freezing drizzle changing over to light rain with a high of 35. Sunday, we'll see a chance of snow with a high temperature of 25. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 16.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Count me among the Americans that want to see change. Now, of course, the change I was looking for would have put Kamala Harris in the White House. Americans voted for change. They just, Trump, I think they got the wrong kind. Still, I'm grateful for elections, even when we lose. They tell us about ourselves, and we can't ignore that and shouldn't.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Attention all listeners, financial planners, CPAs, and divorce attorneys. If you're wondering why your loan officer hasn't returned your calls, it's probably because they're one of the over 165,000 loan officers who didn't renew their license over the past 24 months. If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender who's still in business. While mortgage companies have been shutting down and loan officers are leaving the business over the past 2 years, Team Hochberg has been adding loan officers, is stronger than ever, and would love to earn your business. Let's review. Hundreds of mortgage companies have closed and over 165,000 loan officers exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever. If you'd like to work with experienced mortgage professionals who will appreciate your business, call Team Hochberg now, 855-563-2843, or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843, or 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 112-4061.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway, or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Joining me in studio is author, historian, and tour guide Adam Selzer, whose show tonight. He has a virtual tour tonight, which means he can go anywhere in Chicago, show you all the different aspects of our history, all about the Chicago
To the one tonight?
Yes.
Okay, tonight
Sorry.
is all about Chicago's swindlers and gamblers and con artists, mostly from before about 1920. It's a history thing.
Excellent.
But, they say history rhymes, and you can definitely see the connection with a lot of these things. We're living in an age of scammer barons now.
Well, and that's something I wanted to talk about because you mentioned cryptocurrency.
These guys would have loved crypto. Meme coins, they would have, the sheer number of opportunities to scam people with meme coins are just through the roof, and it's probably all legal.
Well, and that's so Rick Perlstein, who is also a historian and author. He's written several books about the rise of conservatism. From Goldwater and before Goldwater and Nixon.
I would go back to Wilbur F. Story and the guy. What was the name of the guy who ran the New York Herald? I forget. Jerk. Anyway. So,
He covers all of that, and the sort of manipulation of the media, all the drive that they had, and the rise of all those elements. But he shared a post today by someone named Aaron Bartley. And the question is, why are the billionaires doing this? Why is the Trump administration doing this? And what is moving the techno-feudalists, Musk, Thiel, Vance, and Andreessen and their miners to wreck our country and tank the economy? And so this person says they've done a lot of research on this. One, the techno-feudalists have billions invested in crypto, and without a big push from the government and the removal of all regulations, their money will be lost.
Yeah.
Right? That's one. Two, similarly, they're gravely concerned about the trillions they've invested in AI. Any amount of regulation or constraints by the state is seen as a death knell. They know AI has prompted a speculative bubble, and that's the thing is they're all about we need all this money for startup. Trump committed $500 million, and then the next week was when that DeepSeek basically
turns out you don't need $500 million.
You need $6 million, right?
Yeah.
And look, whatever the problems are, it obviously it's achievable at a much lower rate, and
it's probably a much better environmental rate too. I mean, they're gonna solve a lot of this stuff.
Exactly. Both crypto and AI Both crypto and AI are burning up the earth. The electricity demands of both AI and crypto are enormous. So they need a completely deregulated energy industry and rapid shift away from any climate policy.
Yeah.
Both China has caught up faster than they expected. That's DeepSeek. So they need protectionist nationalist regime to keep Chinese technology at bay, right? So we have to be like, we can't. So
they're going to have a hard time with that.
And lastly, they resent their employees deeply for the political concerns they've been raising about climate change and DEI. They blame the radicalizing influences of elite institutions and want the government to shut these institutions down, or colleges, any sort of organization that, and that one of the things.
See the Missouri, I think it was the Attorney General of Missouri suing Starbucks today
for being too
because of their policies. They are now too female and too non-white, and this has led consumers to have longer wait times and lower quality of service. It actually says that.
Oh my God. No. And again, we were talking earlier about why are they such sore winners. The 360 made a very good point. MAGA aren't happy unless they make everyone as miserable as they are.
You never see Trump seeming happy unless he's being mean to somebody.
No.
It's the only time he ever seems to be smiling is when he's bullying someone, when he's saying something cruel.
What kind of medication do you think they put him on to be in the Oval Office?
Cocaine.
Do you think they put? But I mean to be behind that desk while Elon and his kid were just running ramshot.
Less cocaine.
That's
what he's like without cocaine.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Yeah, and Elon's eyes looked like that episode of The Simpsons where they got Mr. Burns all drugged up.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. And for the people who love this, that Elon Musk is, is catching all the fraud and all these things about. Look, do I cherish the idea that there are Democrats who have not done enough to make sure that there's more transparency when it comes to their investments, what they, what the regulations are as far as their own, both federally and in the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois legislature has not passed ethics reform, even in the wake of what happened with Madigan, but neither has the federal level. So they also are not regulated themselves. And yet, they don't play, they benefit themselves, but they don't play hardball the way Republicans do, and it's freaking exhausting, is all I can say about that. So, at any rate. Let me get to Andrew in Detroit. Hey, Andrew, you're on with me and Adam Selzer. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, I'm listening to your show and I'm loving it. Except for the point, we are hearing every day what the terribles are doing to us, but we're not hearing how we as individuals can deal with this. I'll give you my situation over here. Here I am talking to you over the airways because here in the city of Detroit, I have no progressive radio station.
Tell your friends, first of all.
How horrible is that?
I know.
Stupid.
Yeah.
So what do we do? We can bitch, holler, and complain about what they're doing, but if we don't have a plan on how we're going to go after them, especially in the midterms, I mean, God help us. If they get through the midterms winning, God help us. But thanks to you and your guest. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Andrew.
We're still figuring out, I think, what we can do as individuals. We're still figuring out what the lay of the land is and what's going to be effective. My trick lately has just been making prank phone calls to various senators' offices after hours and leaving messages. My particular favorite is Senator Tom Tuberville, the guy who always calls himself Coach all the time, and recently suggested that kids with ADHD should just be beaten on the butts with belts. And so I called him and offered up my ADHD butt because I got it going on back there. I'm a consenting adult. I'll even call him Coach if he wants, because the whole thing, he just sounds like a pervert to me.
Yeah.
He sounds like he wants to beat kids and make them call him Coach. So I'm sure it's just some intern who's going to throw the whole thing away, but it at least makes me feel better.
I love when you do it. He often makes these calls during Whiskey and a Cookie on Friday nights, which airs at 7 p.m. when I get there on time. You can visit our Election Connection. Our friend in Detroit, we on the Patti Vasquez show page, we have a link to our Election Connection, and you can find out there about what races are going on. We're going to be working on Wisconsin, but of course, across the country, there's a race going on in Florida. There's 2 races, I believe, that can really make a lot of headway because it's a very narrow margin that Republicans hold in Congress. So Josh Wheel is running in Florida. You can support his campaign, learn more about that. But you can visit our Election Connection. We're doing postcards. A lot of groups are doing postcards to Wisconsin. Because the Wisconsin Supreme Court race is coming up on April 1st.
Yeah, most people, I'm sure, are so tuned out from that they don't even know what's going on, even in Wisconsin.
Exactly.
We just did an election,
And they're always doing elections in Wisconsin.
Right.
Always. Which I guess can be good or bad. It also can help people stay motivated.
We knocked on doors and people said, we got too many elections around here.
They did say that.
Well, it's a high-class problem to have.
Yes, and there are if you Google what can we do to stop Republicans and fascism, you'll find a lot of ideas. I mean, there's a lot of people are coming out with lists. There's the local. Let's just start with your own life. If you know somebody who is vulnerable to the immigration roundups, right? If you know somebody who might be worried about their status as migrants, reach out to them and ask them how you can help. If you have anyone in your life who is LGBTQ+, or you can go to websites. You can visit PFLAG or just Google what organizations are near me. How can I help? You can also help the Democrats in your area. Find out what they're doing. And I will be honest, I don't work with the Dems in my area, so I have to go outside of my own district because it's a little bit. I mean, like I said, that's the thing about Democrats. We don't fall in line. I don't fall in line with the kind of shenanigans that my local electeds participate in. So, but I find those that align with my ideals, who people I think are doing good work. Oh, speaking of which, coming up on Joan Esposito's show is one of those individuals. Illinois State Rep Cam Buckner will be joining her tomorrow, and I highly recommend listening, of course, every day to Joan. She'll be talking to Cam Buckner. She's going to have legal analyst Jill Winebanks, of course, and she'll have Chicago artist Tony Fitzpatrick. That's live, local, and progressive, weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Central on WCPT, and you can also tune in on the TuneIn app. So I would say, find those electeds, find out what your local Democratic parties are doing, because they're working. Believe me, the 40th Ward Dems, they're having an event tonight. They're having a Galentine's at My Buddies. So if you're in the Chicagoland area, you want to go to My Buddies. They're having drag bingo and all kinds of stuff tonight.
Nice.
So, there are ways. I would recommend that if you have the opportunity to Google, just say, how do I stop fascism and Republicans? You'll find these lists.
Do what you can. I mean, we'd all like the Democrats to be making a lot more noise noise right now, but I also understand that right now, a lot of what they do, 60% of the electorate is going to think is an overreaction.
Yeah.
People haven't got their hand on the stove yet. People haven't had their medications cut off. They haven't had their checks cut off. That's coming. It's coming, and that's when it's going to be when you start seeing more people who are normally tuned out to this kind of thing and just think that Elon is out there trying to stop fraud.
Yeah.
People are going to get their hand on the stove sooner or later.
And if you visit, I would also encourage folks to like the Patti Vasquez show page on Facebook. And we every day I'm going to try to do Today in Billionaire Efficiency, where basically they're lining their pockets with our tax dollars under the guise of being efficient and cutting fraud and things like that. Before we go to the break, Adam, we have a box that was sent to me, which is very mysterious.
So while you're struggling with that, on the Mysterious Chicago Facebook page, every day 10 o'clock we do a morning mini tour, and that's a good gathering. People just hang out there. It's a safe space for people like us. We get the occasional troll, but I treat them with very little mercy. So, it's a place that you can hang out with sane and generally like-minded people and just have a good time. It's a great group of people that we got who come to these. What is in the box, Patty? What is in the mysterious box?
Someone has crocheted this beautiful emotional support dumpster fire. And it says, it's fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Exactly what we were talking about earlier. This is freaking amazing.
This is absolutely fantastic.
This is adorable. It says handmade in the hollow Alpenwide Village. This is from Vermont. Vermont in the house, Lady B. Look at this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, that is magnificent.
I'm in love with this. This is so much better than my emotional support water. I have a big glitter water, like the Stanley Cup
like a water
ones.
bottle. Oh yeah, I feel like a lot of people have emotional support water bottles. I'm out with the school group all the time. I'm like, okay, we're going to the museum. Can we bring our water bottles?
Yes. Well, mine is glittery, but I don't. It's too big and heavy. It seems more like a weapon. This is amazing. This will be featured on the show regularly. Thank you very much to our friend in Vermont. I don't know if I have a note in here or anything. Any sort of more information on? There is a card. Excellent. Thank you. I'm so glad you put a card in here. Thank you. A gift. Bridget. Oh, this is one of your. Isn't she one of the Mysterious Chicago?
Bridget. I'm not sure. I
believe Bridget might be part of this group. But thank you, Bridget. Yeah. This is magnificent. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you very much. This is outstanding. Yes, this is fantastic. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'll give it more of a description. It's a pink dumpster with a fire coming out of it.
We'll have pictures on our Facebook, on our stories and stuff momentarily.
Yes, I love this so much. Thank you, Bridget. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation. I know we've got a listener on hold right now. We'll get to that phone call in just a moment. We're in studio with Adam Selzer. He's an author, historian, and tour guide tonight. His virtual tour is Chicago's
Swindlers, Gamblers, and Con Artists.
I'll never get it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm getting the order right either, honestly. I mean, it's the same tour either way, whether it's Gamblers, Con Artists, and Swindlers, or Swindlers, Gamblers, and Con Artists.
Excellent. That's Adam Selzer's virtual tour tonight at 8 o'clock. Mysterious Chicago on Facebook is the best place to join the group. And our friend in Detroit, I hope that you are able to get on Facebook and join that group, join the Patti Vasquez show page, join the conversation both there and here every single day. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
I love spicy foods, but not everyone in my family feels the same way. And that got us talking the other day. Why do some people tolerate and even like spice, while others seem to not be able to handle the heat? Now, some of the reason is likely genetic, as you might guess. It's kind of like some people love cilantro, other people swear it tastes like soap. But according to a new study out of China, your preference for spicy foods may in large part be in your head. Expectations are powerful, they said. They can transform a burning sensation into a pleasurable experience, depending on how we anticipate the taste. So if you want to eat spicier foods, approach them with curiosity rather than aversion. Experiment with different spices to find which ones you like the best. Start slow and balance them with cooling elements, such as a piece of cheese or bread. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Lowe's knows how to help you get the most out of your store run. That's why members save more with My Lowe's Rewards. Earn points towards My Lowe's money on eligible purchases. Get access to member-only deals and free member gifts. Plus, unlock free standard shipping when you reach Silver Key status. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today. Lowe's. We help. You save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Again, I want to thank Bridget for the lovely dumpster fire. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. That's pretty much been my answer every time someone asks me how I'm doing, because I refuse to say I'm good. It's so funny that people that say they're good. Yeah. I don't believe them. I don't believe them. I don't believe them unless, I really don't. And it's not a matter of excluding anybody, or like going out of my way to avoid people I know who are MAGA. Like I do have a neighbor who is, online, the most grotesque when it comes to LGBTQ rights, about the pride flag, hates that stuff. And to your point earlier, when it starts happening to them, when their hand is on the stove kind of a thing, he's a veteran, right? And so when people talk about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion is intended to make sure that underrepresented populations are included, right? That's the inclusion part, because I'm sorry, up until the 1960s, this was not a functioning democracy until the 1960s as far as participation of all races and genders, right? Both genders and or whatever. And I say whatever because like people are like, whoa, so you agree there's only I'm not having these arguments with you. So the thing is, like, it also is intended to uplift the people who've served in our military, people with disabilities, people who might otherwise be ignored or scraped off because they're just too problematic or it's too weird to be around. It's a
drain on the state.
It's right. So, and I asked people on my Facebook page when they got mad about the trans flag in this post that we put up, and and the other thing that they say, well, they're mentally unstable. Okay, so if you really believe that, then you would want to be helpful to folks.
The same people who say it's all mental illness are also the ones who want no more support for mental illness.
Exactly. And they don't care that you know what I want to say to them? I want to say this to them. Let me see. I want to hear this. I want to say this to them.
Prices from one year to the next are the same.
Shush.
And they're
You can kind of hear him say shush. Yeah. Other people have had audio where he's like, you're not talking now or something like that. Then other people have audio where he says that you're not president, that kind of stuff. So it's been really interesting.
Interesting.
At any rate, but so I don't want my neighbor to. So he shoveled our sidewalks yesterday, and I don't necessarily want him to suffer, but I do. I want to ask him, there are people in your community who are hurt by the things that you do and say, man, and including your vote. So that was what that post was about, about the betrayal for me as a mom of a child with a disability and as a woman who believes in the autonomy of my body.
Yeah, it's like, well, we might have had a good time hanging out or something. We might have helped each other out sometime, but were we ever really friends?
Right.
How? To what extent was your support for me contingent?
Yes.
On these things.
Well, I remember one time when I was at WGN, I was on TV talking about something. I think it was when Joan Rivers died, and he shared it on his page. He was like, "Hey, look, it's my neighbor," and one of his friends said, "She needs to get a job." right? And he didn't defend me either. Like what are you talking about? Right? What is like? I'm not a contributing member of society because what? Because I'm a radio host,
right?
Okay. Is that how you felt about Rush Limbaugh?
But I'd rip on that. I remember when Michael Moore went to the Iowa caucus, I think it was in the year 2000, and he made a rule that we're driving around with a flatbed truck with a bunch of kids having a mosh pit on it. And he said, we will endorse any candidate who gets into our mosh pit. And Alan Keyes got in the mosh pit.
Oh, golly.
So they had to come up with a way to endorse him. And they said, Alan Keyes says that he's an ambassador, but he's really a radio talk show host. But he got in our mosh pit.
Wow. That's crazy. Roosevelt's on the line. Roosevelt, the last soldier in the Spanish-American War. Is that what Jim called you? Hey, Roosevelt, how you doing?
Thank you for taking my call, guys. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys.
Thank you.
The show.
Love you too.
Everything.
Thank you.
No, I didn't call for that.
Oh, it's all right.
I call for things that make you go, Okay? All right, here's
things
one.
That make you go,
So here, I'm going to bring one out that is rarely brought up, even on the station or even on your program. And that is this. For years, for months, for weeks, excuse me, we've heard from the Republicans constantly, George Soros. Is his name first? His first name George?
Yeah, George.
Yeah.
Soros. Okay? I hear it in Spanish. I was so mad because on the station that I listen to, which I take, like I said before, I take no prisoners. I don't care if they kick me out. I don't care. Patty knows how I feel. So they would, before the election, George Soros. I rarely hear Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the president. Why? Because we've seen a president twiddling with his hands, sitting down, not saying anything. Who controlled the whole thing that we saw? The video of the kid you were talking about. You were just mentioning the kid. Okay? Elon Musk, he's sending a message. I'm in control. When is the last time you've seen anybody? Remember how Trump is. He's a germaphobe. He's all this. He didn't open his mouth. A different Trump would have kicked that kid out. He is not in control. Elon Musk is in control. Look at the body language. Okay? Look at the body language. Musk, in my opinion, brought that kid to show us who is in control, who is in charge of this.
Right. He's been granted more control over government and spending than any president has had.
Yeah, back to Soros, the richest man in the world. That's precisely my point, my friend. Now, I just happened to look this up. The richest people in the world, male, female, families, whatever. Okay? Number 21, Koch family. Do you think they donated to the Republican Party? I'm trying to make a point because it's Soros. Okay? Okay. And 16, the guy with the glasses that contributed money for his inaugural.
You got to be more specific. I think there's a lot of guys with glasses.
Okay. Then I'm going to go 3, Jeff Bezos, 2, Zuckerberg, and 1, of course, Elon Musk. And then Jim Walton and family, number 12. All those people that I mentioned have contributed to Trump. Where's the Republican? Forget about the Republican Party. Where are the callers that even would call this station at least to say, hey, wait a minute, this has gone beyond? No, they don't have the guts. They're all cowards. I said this in Spanish, too, by the way, this morning. Where are all these people? I used to complain about Soros. Look who you have. Look who's running the show. I just said that. That makes me so mad because we always know that the hypocrisy as far as the Republican Party, that's out the window. But these guys are cowards. And by the way, aren't all these guys Republicans, constitutionalists? The guys that used to say respect the Supreme Court? So that's my point. My point is, finally, the richest people in the world, starting 1, 2, 3, are in control of this country.
Yeah.
Starting with, and wait, let me add to it. A guy that was born in South Africa. So how's that? And now he wants to bring in more South Africans, but they have to be white.
Yep.
So do you think that
can I hold over this? I actually kind of want to get into some of this, Roosevelt. If you want to. No. I have to go to the break.
I appreciate you holding me on.
No. You can hold on a second. Let me reintroduce this when we come back and bring in our friends in Minnesota. We're gonna take a break here. We're driving it home. Joining me in studio is Adam Selzer, author, historian, and tour guide. Tonight at 8 p.m. He has his virtual tour, Chicago's Gamblers, Swindlers, and Con Men.
Yep,
I'm close.
You got it this time.
That's at 8 o'clock. Mysterious Chicago on Facebook. More in a moment on WCPT 820.
Join me and WCPT Radio at the Southland Friends of Labor 16th Annual Jobs Breakfast, Monday, February 24th. We will be in Joliet at IBEW Local 176. This special union event is free to all active and retired union members and all WCPT listeners. Come and enjoy a great breakfast and WCPT's special broadcast with me. Guests being interviewed include Andy Rico, business manager, IBEW Local 176, Bob Howard, president of the Chicago and Western Lakesport Council, and Stephen Powell, president of Local 881 UFCW. Doors open at 7:30. If you want to attend, please call or text 708-996-1291 and leave a voicemail to save a seat. Free to all WCPT listeners and active and retired union members. See you on the 24th.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Russian officials and state media have taken a triumphant tone after President Trump jettisoned U.S. policy on the war in Ukraine and announced he will likely meet soon with President Vladimir Putin to negotiate a peace deal. Karen Shamas has Ukraine's reaction.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Ukraine would not accept any peace negotiations with Russia that didn't include his country. As he visited a nuclear power station in western Ukraine, Zelensky said, I articulate this very clearly to our partners. Any bilateral negotiations about Ukraine without us, we will not accept. Zelensky said the main thing was not to allow everything to go according to Putin's plan. Zelensky said during their phone call, Trump told him he wanted to speak to both Russian and Ukrainian leaders at the same time. He never mentioned in a conversation that Putin and Russia was a priority. We today trust these words. For us, it's very important to preserve the support of the United States of America. I'm Karen Shamas.
President Trump's announced a new tariff plan. The AP's Chris McGarrian.
He describes these as reciprocal tariffs. Essentially, if there's a country that has a tax on American exports to their country, America will put an equivalent tariff on imports from their country.
The U.S. has a large trade deficit with India, and the president welcomed its Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, to the White House this afternoon.
We have great friendship, he and I and our countries, and I think it's only going to get closer, but it's very important that we remain united as countries. We're friends, and we're going to stay that way.
Modi addressed the Russia-Ukraine war.
The world had this thinking that India somehow is a neutral country in this whole process, but this is not true. India has a side, and that side is of peace.
And a winter storms created whiteout conditions in Oregon, triggering a major pileup on an interstate along the Columbia River near Portland. More than 100 vehicles involved. This is AP News. The Aaron Rodgers era in New York is officially over. Gethin Coolbaugh has the story.
The New York Jets announced they told Aaron Rodgers they are moving on without him next season. In a statement issued by the team, the Jets said they met with the 41-year-old quarterback last week and informed him of their plans. Rodgers hasn't said whether he intends to continue playing for a 21st NFL season. The four-time MVP is the fifth player in NFL history to throw 500 touchdown passes in the regular season. He has 1 year of non-guaranteed money left on his contract. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh. law.
In hockey, the Four Nations tournament kicked off last night with a good one. Canada beating Sweden 4-3 in overtime. Mitch Marner hopping on the ice to drive home the winner on a dish from Sidney Crosby, who skated off the ice before the puck hit the back of the net. Canada's captain assisted on 3 of the team's 4 goals. USA-Finland tonight. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
Meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. We'll see clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 2 degrees, southwest winds up to 25 miles an hour, a little bit of light snow late in the day Friday, very little in the way of accumulation, with a high temperature around 28, south winds at up to 30 miles an hour. Saturday, snow and freezing drizzle changing over to light rain with a high of 35. Sunday, we'll see a chance of snow with a high temperature of 25. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 16.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we drive it home. I want to say hello to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We're broadcasting here from Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And if you struggled hearing our show after the sun goes down, make sure you've got the TuneIn app downloaded so you can listen to our show anywhere you are. And we have friends listening all over the country. We want to say hi to our friends that are listening in California and in Washington. We've got friends in Vermont, North Carolina. We talked to our friend in Michigan just a little bit ago, Adam.
Yeah.
So we're very thrilled to have so many new listeners joining the show. I know that folks are looking for a place to have these conversations. And these conversations are made possible by sponsors like Source Solar. Go to source.solar to learn more about the work they do. They're your source for solar in Illinois. Find out if your house is a good place to maybe put some solar up and get more efficient and environmentally friendly. We also want to thank Minocqua Brewing Company. We'll be at the tap room on Tuesday. You want to come to Madison on Tuesday?
Madison on Tuesday. That's a possibility.
We might get hotel rooms. Is all I'm saying.
Hotel rooms. Okay, I know a good place in Madison.
We're going on Tuesday to the Madison tap room. It's really fun there.
Okay.
We'd love to have you as a guest there too. So everyone join us. There you go. We can have folks join us on Tuesday.
Lately, when I don't have anything going on in the evening, I just kind of crash because I got nothing to do but doom scroll. So I got to fill out my day.
We'll come hang out with
us.
Yeah. Let's come out. And there's a really good bar at the hotel. So I'm just
excellent. I know a couple places in Madison.
All right, then. Perfect. So Madison on Tuesday at the Minocqua Brewing Tap Room. And we were Adam Selzer is an author, historian, and tour guide. Tonight's virtual tour is Chicago's Gamblers, Swindlers, and Con Men at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
You can go to Mysterious Chicago on Facebook. I see him looking at the clock going, I'm probably going to leave at 6:30 so I can get ready.
I'll be all right. It's all set. The tour is, I've done this tour a few times. It was one of my favorite ones out of the 60 or 70 virtual tours that I do, or somewhere in there. I think it might be more than that now. But this one, I realized I hadn't done it in over a year. I got to pace myself on this one because I love talking about these guys. I love talking about con jobs and swindles.
Yeah.
But I've revamped it quite a lot. I've added in a lot of new stuff for this airing. and taken some old stuff out, added some new stuff in, and thrown in some topical references.
And earlier, you mentioned that these guys, that you're going to discuss on your tour tonight, would have loved things like cryptocurrency.
They would have loved crypto, like meme coins and stuff. And honestly, I think it was a P.T. Barnum line. It is morally wrong to let a sucker keep their money. And with due respect to the Hock Twa woman, if you would invest all of your life savings in the Hock Twa coin, it's probably morally wrong to let you have money.
Do you know, I did something really stupid today. If someone gave Declan a Beanie Baby with the tags included, it's like a flamingo one.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this worth anything? And I felt really dorky. It's anywhere from $5 to $10,000, and I don't know what the difference is.
Right.
I'm like, what?
Well, a lot of it is anybody actually paying the $10,000 for it?
Apparently there's some purple bear that's worth money.
Yeah. Remember in the 90s, people thought they were going to get rich off of Beanie Babies?
Yes.
And people ended up with tubs and tubs and tubs of the things that are not particularly valuable.
And I think they gave one to Declan. I hope it doesn't have bed bugs. At any rate, we have Roosevelt, who was joining us in the last hour and was talking about what he, wondering about the vision that these billionaires, these techno billionaires, these feudalists have in mind, especially their vision of, many of them from South Africa and having grown up in apartheid, which we talked about on the show. So Roosevelt, have I kind of summed that up a little bit, or did you want to add anything to the next part of this conversation?
Actually, I don't want to be the director of this conversation, but I want you to put your 2 cents on everything I said, and I'm gonna come back with a short answer.
You know that I've talked about this at different points in the last few weeks, and in particular after someone sent me a link to this blogger, Curtis Yarvin, I guess his name is. I don't want to put this in anybody's head, because this guy is who has J.D. Vance's ear. J.D. Vance and Elon Musk follow his writings, and he was at the inauguration. But this guy essentially believes that the United States needs to become a corporate entity. He's kind of excited that Donald seemed to follow his ideas for what needs to happen in Gaza, which is expel all the Palestinians because the land is more valuable with them gone, and to build luxury buildings,
luxury hotels,
make it a corporate member of the planet. So I mean, essentially, and to Roosevelt's point about these billionaires from South Africa, he also wants people to understand that we must accept that there is a hierarchy, that white males are supreme, that women are inferior, that people
employers
of color,
over employees.
Correct. And so I think that's gotten into the mindset of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and for MAGA to think otherwise is dangerous, but we can't convince them anymore.
Van's even talking about the ordo amoris, or whatever the Latin term is, you love your family and then your neighbor and then your country and then the stranger, right? Which the Pope really ripped him on,
right? Well, and that's the thing. The whole Christian ideals that they pretend to embrace.
That's not. Yeah, that's. I know you can find a Latin term for it, but that doesn't mean it's actual doctrine.
Yeah. So these guys here. The bottom line is, and I've seen this on my page too, because we put a meme up about how democracy isn't just dying; they're murdering it in plain sight, right? And everybody on my page that's MAGA was like, "Well, we don't have a democracy anyway." And I went back and forth, and I shared all the stuff about the founding fathers, and it's a constitutional republic, which is a form of democracy.
When people say we're not a democracy, we're a republic, it's like, I don't drive a car, I drive a Prius.
Yes.
It's the Earth isn't round, it's an oblate spheroid. They just think they're being so smart when they say this.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's like it shows me very quickly that you're a very stupid person who's learned a big word. And it's similar to people who get into conspiracy theories because they're stupid and it makes them feel smart.
Yeah. And so, Roosevelt, to this conversation, I believe that guys like this, Curtis Yarvin, who's in the minds of Elon Musk and J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, all believe that democracy is broken from the inside. It can't be fixed. So we may as well just destroy it and make this a corporate company town, meaning the entire United States should be a Pullman village, but not as nice.
Yeah, but not as nice.
Yeah.
So, Pullman is a great neighborhood. As company towns went, it was considered this grand progressive experiment when it happened. Pullman just got way too patrician with it.
And that's the thing.
And also cut everybody's salary by a third without lowering their rents, which Elon would totally do to you.
Yep. At any rate, there you go, you Roosevelt.
Can I add to what you guys said?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Often, Jonas Pesito brings it up about that Venezuelan activist lady that she's disappointed because apparently they're gonna send them back to Venezuela, and their TPS was protected. And as a matter of fact, not only Venezuelans, Ukrainians, Cubans, you know who did that? Biden, and that's never mentioned. But yet they convinced them. What I mean by that, those scumbag Cuban political people, and I'm sorry, but political people down there, Rubio, Maria Elvira Salazar, Mario Diaz-Balart, the whole gang of scumbags, because they are. All they do is kiss up to whoever's in power so they could go up in the ladder of political gain. So I'm going to send you the video. I hope you have time and just play a short part of it. And Joan has sent it before. The point I'm trying to make is, and I don't know if this is ever brought up, when Reagan gave immunity to people that didn't have papers, I believe it was between 2 and 3 million. I'm not sure of that. Okay, the Mexican community turned around and became Republican. Okay, they still to this day, the majority of Mexican men voted for Trump. Whether it's machismo, you know what I'm talking about, a male, you know the reputation Mexicans have. Whatever. Okay? The point I'm trying to make, even though I don't agree with them turning Republicans, they had loyalty to the person that helped their family. Cubans didn't do that. The Cuban Act became Cuban Act by President Johnson, Democrat. Not once. And I asked two guys that threw me out of their show. They're up the dial. They're the second station up the dial AM. I asked them, why don't you guys ever become Democrats? Because Democrats, you owe everything to the Democratic Party. No, they have no loyalty. You know why? Because they have a different mindset. The mindset is how do I get more money? Which party is going to give me the opportunity to get more money? And I don't care if I don't respect my wife, such as Ted Cruz. I don't care if the president called me Little Marco, such as Rubio. So they're willing to sell their families, everything for the sake of money and power. Okay? So they were never loyal. And I have yet to have any Cuban, and I challenge in Spanish or English, to call up and explain to me why to this day you have to be I almost said the word, kisser, an A kisser.
A fan kisser, a butt kisser.
Anybody that thinks that I'm not right or they disagree, please, the floor is yours. Because this has come to the point where they contribute and trick, bamboozled the Latin community, specifically in the state of Florida. And they did the same thing in 2000. Al Gore. Okay? Yeah. So to this day, they still do it. I listen to this show, even though they don't put me on the show anymore. Those two Cubans, they said this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. What do I mean? What I brought up earlier. This guy, Trump's rich guy, Elon Musk. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. When I would be on their show, they would say, George Soros, George Soros, George Soros. Where are they at? Where's all these people at? They used to say that the Democratic Party is bought and sold by George Soros. That's my point, and I made a lot of points. I said a lot of things.
Thank you.
You have said a lot of things.
Appreciate it, Roosevelt. I got to get to some more phone calls.
Thanks, Roosevelt.
Yeah, it's. I'm sending you the one of the articles about this guy who's in the ears of all these people, and I it's I honestly, if this is what takes hold in their minds, and they seem obviously they have all the levers of our country at their disposal. They've got 19-year-old hackers who have access. Greasy Beavis bros who have access to our tax returns, to our banking history, to our Social Security, to Medicare, Medicaid. They want to cut, for folks who don't know, they want to cut $880 million from Medicaid.
Pretty much the whole of Medicaid,
Yeah. Reverting it all back to the states. And I'll tell you right now, 11 states, including the state of Illinois, will basically have to cut millions of people
right
across the country from Medicaid.
Yeah, you think you don't have somebody in your family who's relying on Medicaid, someone within your friends and family, you must not have very many friends and family. Your friends must be few, and I don't question why.
Adam Selzer, not wrong. More in a moment on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal, and KTNF AM 950, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Are you excited about being a new grandmother?
Of course I am. A little intimidated, too.
Why?
Taking care of a baby today is so different than when I had you.
But, Mom, you did great with me.
Thanks, son. But I put you on your stomach to sleep.
Right. But now we know that babies should always be placed on their backs to sleep for naps and at night to reduce the risk of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS.
You also slept with blankets and toys in your crib.
True. But now we know to keep everything out of the crib except for my sweet baby girl. No blankets, pillows, or other soft or loose items.
Daddy's going to teach Nana all the ways to keep you safe while you sleep. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
For more tips on safe sleep for babies, visit safetosleep.nicchd.nih.gov. That's safetosleep.nicchd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Joining us as we continue our conversation and driving it home. Joining me in studio is author, historian, and tour guide Adam Selzer, whose virtual tour tonight is at 8 o'clock, so he'll be running out of the door at 7 to get that up and running. On Facebook, it's Mysterious Chicago. Tonight, it's Chicago's gamblers, swindlers, and con men.
Yep.
And we've been talking, which is kind of how this country's being run now, is by con men.
Scammer barons. That's the term I'm trying to push.
Scammer barons.
These guys are out to scam you. They are. That's what they're doing. Don't let them tell you that Social Security is an entitlement. I've been paying into that since I was 14.
Yeah. Well, they called it an entitlement, and that's what Elon Musk called it, using the language to rally the conservatives. A listener points out that Medicaid also helps pay for nursing home care for poor seniors, approximately 49% of the Medicaid budget, and also for people with disabilities. There's...
Yeah, folks, you want your parents to move back in with you?
I live with my mom. It's fine. It's totally fine. Let me get to some phone calls. Dave from Hoffman Estates, you've been on hold, and I'm grateful for your patience. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Patty. Like when you say people ask you how you're doing and stuff like that. Well, you could take a page from the late, great Jerry Springer when he was on Air America. And they'd call in, how are you? And he'd say, well.
Well, I am well. I don't know
that's the more grammatically correct.
Right, it is actually.
Medically, I'm reasonably well so far, but now we've got our new Secretary of HHS is going to do his absolute darndest to screw me over.
Yep. Correct. I'm also cuddling with my emotional dumpster fire. So it's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. While we all burn. Yes.
Anyway, but he had a pretty good program in his day, too. Funny you're talking on the Medicaid and all of that. I dug up in the old notes here when back when Trump was in the first time. And this one happened in Michigan. For Michigan's governor, Rick Snyder, at that time, signed a law requiring many of Michigan residents receiving Medicaid health coverage either work or education. And that law would affect able-bodied adults 19 to 62, starting in 2020. And they'll have to show workforce engagement averaging 80 hours a month, such as a job, school, vocational training, and internship, substance abuse treatment, or community service. And then Trump and they signed off on it about 2 months later, I guess making a law. And then next time a friend from Michigan calls, we could ask if that's still law. I would figure if the governor signed it into law. And then, there's still currently there's 4 states who already had their 20-hour-a-week work requirements approved by Trump, and they were Kentucky, Indiana, Arkansas, and New Hampshire. And that's so it's, they want people to work till they drop. That these poor people already, there's a reason why they're on Medicaid,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, and lastly, talking about that Musk with his kid, picking his nose and whatnot. But, and like you're saying, where Trump is such a germaphobe and all of this kind of crap. But
the kid's wiping his boogers on the Resolute.
Wow.
Yep. I can remember the days when the Republicans made such a stink about when the late Jimmy Carter was president, and Amy Carter had climbed a tree or something over up by the White House.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's we're living in weird times for sure, Dave.
You're right about that.
Yep.
World,
but I'm well. Are you well? I hope we're all well, Dave.
I just think thought because they used to always get some of these people that were, just totally righty behaved. He'd always throw them off guard when he'd say I'm well.
I'm well. Thanks so much for calling, Dave.
Just a thought.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Appreciate it. You too. Let's get to Paul in Seattle. Good to hear from you, my friend. You're on with me and Adam Selzer. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just had lunch. It tasted really well.
I don't know if that's the English major in me is coming out here.
Because it's passive, right? I am not good. Cause
right.
I
am well.
Is
lunch was good. It filled me well.
It filled me well. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. My meal was well done, and it was really good.
There you go.
But
you had your steak well done. We will ask you politely but firmly to get off the phone. No.
Like they're well done. That's wrong. The people who always use I instead of me. They say it's like, well, that's for her and I.
Yeah,
no, that's actually for her and me. Right?
Yep.
They always say that.
Well, all these things are all pretty. If you dig into it, these things are all pretty arbitrary anyway.
And also, social media has killed all of that. Texting has killed all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. Apostrophes and proper commas.
I've given up. Funner is a word. That's okay.
Yeah. Look, when they told me they could tell I was old by how many spaces I put after a period, I was done. Anyway, what's on your mind?
Well, J.D. Vance saying that Trump should just ignore Supreme Court orders if they're not in his favor. And there's been talk about that because, supposedly Andrew Jackson said about John Marshall, Chief Justice Marshall has made his ruling, now let him enforce it. Well, I'm not so worried about this part. I'm not worried about Trump necessarily disobeying or ignoring a Supreme Court order. What I think is more likely is the Supreme Court, not so much the federal courts. The federal courts can stand up to him because he's always got these, well, take it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court would probably, rather than suffer the humiliation and the degradation and the true degradation of him defying their order, would just rule in his favor. Because they know, and if you just check out what's written Federalist number 78, which is about the federal Supreme Court, federal court, they know that once Trump defies an order, that's game over. Anybody can defy their order. So if they want to pretend like they still have some credibility, they just uphold anything that Trump wants to masquerade as if they are still, as if they are still a credible, force in one of the credible delineations of power. But they're not, and they haven't been. And, Federal 78 says the courts have neither the power of the sword nor the purse. In fact, they depend on the executive branch to enforce their decisions. But it would be a catastrophe for liberty if the court were to make ally with one of the other branches of government, particularly the executive, which they are. So I think they're likely to just keep ruling in his favor, because if he defied their order, that would just be open season for every governor and every state to say, well, screw you. I mean, that's if Trump can do that, anybody can do that.
I was going to say, not just governors, but why should we pay attention to courts? Yeah. Why should we do anything? Why do we have? There are these guys I follow on social media. There are these lawyers who tell you to just shut up when you get pulled over. Don't, like, when the officer says, "Do you know why I pulled you over? Or where are you coming from?" Your reaction should just be, "I don't want to talk about my day. I don't want to discuss my day with you," right. And you just shut up. Right. And I don't know if more people are doing that with law enforcement, but there is this idea that essentially these billionaires are just going to use law enforcement to control us in ways that we didn't realize was already happening. Why should we obey a judge or have any sort of allegiance to the legal system when it doesn't apply to everybody? I mean, that was the whole idea of no one's above the law, and if the president is, screw it.
Well, and that's what. Maybe we're coming to find out that our Constitution is really merely the rules to a board game. It's really not anything. It's not anything that's real as long as it's real as long as everybody plays nice in the sandbox, and that's pretty much what it amounts to. Right. It really doesn't have any teeth in it. No. It really doesn't.
Nope. There you go.
I mean, it's not. Yeah. And that's what Donald Trump is proving, is that these powers, these grand separation of powers, and it's all a grand idea, as long as everybody plays nice in the sandbox. But when you look at, for instance, the idea that federal judges, I thought about this a long time ago, that federal judges have a lifetime appointment, because if you give them a lifetime appointment, they will forsake all all of their egotistical and right. In the interest of the country. And wait, that's very grand. Is that really true? In other words, we didn't have modern psychology when the Constitution was written. Right. But we now know from research that people will cheat as much as they can. So no, judges are not going to be somehow these magnanimous people who, I'm a federal judge, and so my own personal beliefs be damned. I'm charging forward for the Constitution. Stay asked. No, They will cheat as much as they can for their own interest and what they believe in and what they want. That's all there is to it.
Yep. I appreciate your insight, Paul. I've got to run because I've got a guest that we're going to talk to in just a moment. Okay. Obviously, it's all, you know where I stand on all this, especially all the things, Paul. Have a good night. Good to hear from you. Thanks. Okay. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we are going to have a guest who's going to talk to us about the great work that they're doing. Dr. Aimy Steele will join us, the co-founder and CEO of New North Carolina Project. That's NNCP. And we'll have that conversation when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Thank you for joining us.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. We'll see clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 2 degrees, southwest winds up to 25 miles an hour, a little bit of light snow late in the day Friday, very little in the way of accumulation with a high temperature around 28, south winds at up to 30 miles an hour. Saturday, snow and freezing drizzle changing over to light rain with a high of 35. Sunday, we'll see a chance of snow with a high temperature of 25. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 14.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fairchild, and I am a lifetime lover of animals. I've rescued every pet I've ever had, so I know firsthand that when you adopt a shelter pet and make them a member of your family, it not only enriches you and your family's lives, but that of your pet's life as well. The champions at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years. Whether certifying the humane treatment of farm animals, rescuing animals caught in disasters, ensuring the safety of animal stars on screen, or protecting our planet's endangered species, they go above and beyond to further their mission and make the world a kinder place for animals. Please consider adopting a shelter pet and supporting American Humane.
As a veteran, you get a lot of advice, but wisdom's harder to come by. A lot of people imagine themselves in our shoes without understanding the weight on our shoulders. The truth is, few can understand the pressure of finding your own way after serving in the military. But few isn't none. Steady yourself. You're not alone. You've got support. Learn more at maketheconnection.net.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's Progressive Talk from TuneIn.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities, in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue our drive home. I want to thank our guest on the line for being patient with us. We're running a little bit late because Dr. Aimy Steele joins us, the co-founder and CEO of New North Carolina Project, which was launched to ignite community-focused change and motivated North Carolina's people of color to claim their civic power. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Steele. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, thank you. I'm great. I hope you are.
Great is I'm jealous because I'm okay. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine, right? So
we're alive.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up, my friend?
Okay, so I grew up in Houston, Texas, and Sagamihara, Japan.
Oh my goodness! All right, what took you? So Houston is a fan. I love Houston. I had the opportunity to work there many times. How old were you when you left Houston?
So I left Houston at age 8, stayed in Japan for 3.5 years. We were a military family.
Oh, boy.
Then I moved back to Texas for 1 year and then on to North Carolina, where I've been since the age of 13.
And how did that shape you, both being in the military and living in the United States and spending time in Japan? Would you say that it really put your worldview into focus?
Yeah, it definitely did. One of the things as I reflect back on my time in Japan and just moving around, to so many different places and having to get to know people in very short amounts of time, as I reflect on all of those experiences, I realized that I am a very diverse person in my own headspace, right? And I also understand the importance of the Japanese American education on my journey. because it really propelled me to become a lifelong learner and to position myself in spaces where education was a priority. So I took my education very seriously after having spent time in Japan, witnessing my teachers who were American and Japanese American teaching me differently than what I had experienced when I grew up in Houston. So that experience really changed and cultivated my entire life.
You know, I was on social media, you scroll and things will pop up, and you'll see a video about education and not just education in Japan, but also how the elderly are treated, how people with disabilities are treated, and it's hard because we have this incredible country, but we're massive. And there's so many people from different backgrounds, different perspectives, different traditions. What do you see as sort of this path forward now in the United States? I mean, we're on sort of very shaky ground when it comes to our vision of education in the United States, aren't we?
Oh, we absolutely are. And I'm a former Spanish teacher and school principal, so I have very strong feelings about education. But I think the pathway forward for us is to continue to embrace our diversity despite rhetoric around not looking at diversity and not expressing or honoring the diverse perspectives or ways we look or ways we are, not honoring that in the forefront of our lives. And I think that's a mistake. So for me, nothing is going to change, even with this administration, positing that DEI is not important and we don't need to honor our differences. That is a lie, straight out of hell. So we will continue to honor all of our differences and do, all the things that we were doing before. So my family is gladly celebrating Black History Month. We will celebrate Juneteenth. We will celebrate Native American Heritage Month and all the other months. So just because the federal government is not having a day, that's okay. It's not okay, but, I'm Black. I've been here before. But just because that's the case, we still will do all of our normal celebrations. Nothing has changed.
I think I'm not alone in saying I needed to hear this so much because, we find ourselves in these fights, whether it's in person or online or screaming at the television about diversity, equity, inclusion. How the idea that a horrible tragedy would be, oh my God, that a press conference would erupt like that. And all of a sudden, there were questions about whether it was DEI involved. And to that, so for folks who are hate listening, is the best way I can put it right now, Dr. Steele, is, to that, you mentioned it's honoring our diversity. I don't think people understand that it's only been less than 50 years since we've had the opportunity to say we belong in every place too, right?
That's right. That's right. And because we know we belong in every place, we can't let the rhetoric of one single administration change our core values and our core beliefs. We've already gotten past that fight. We got past it 50 plus years ago. We've gotten past, educating all students with, equitable books and facilities and things like that. We've gotten past that. And so just because someone says that, no, we're actually not going to honor all of the different ways that we blend and make the fabric of our United States of America, just because they say that doesn't mean we have to honor that or do that. And I will say this, I was just speaking at a speaking engagement prior to this call, and one of the things I spoke about was how DEI impacts those with disabilities or other abilities. And when we see a ramp that goes into a building, that's an example of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is the inclusion of folks who need wheels to go up instead of using their feet to go up a sidewalk or step into a building. So we really just don't, as a society, understand all the ways in which DEI permeates our world and our ways of living every single day. It's not just Black women and white women and, Black men and all of these things. It's really everyone, including veterans, including women, all women, white women especially. So we are all benefactors of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I live that part of it. I have a son who has physical and intellectual challenges, and when he was young, I was at a parent meeting at a school, and the debate was whether or not they should put in an elevator. And this parent said, well, I don't know why we need an elevator. Nobody here at this school needs one. And I will tell you, Dr. Steele, I about ran across the room with a chair in my hand because that's why. That's because we didn't have access. We didn't have the opportunity for everyone to participate in this wonderful, fully funded school. And so what do you say to folks? They don't, I guess the problem is, the way I see it, is people don't want to have to think about it. Right, that's the challenge. They feel like it's sort of they feel like it's taking away something from them, or it's just honestly it just seems like it annoys them. Is that am I wrong on that?
Yeah, that's the sentiment. Things that require people to work differently than how they're accustomed, or think differently than how they're accustomed, does, I believe, genuinely baffle them, annoys them, discomforts them. It makes them uncomfortable, and they just don't know how to fight through that. And I think my experience as a principal and a teacher has taught me this. There are so many differences I encounter on a daily basis. I don't really have time not to accept a difference. It's really more like for a teacher, like a teacher every day, their whole life is built around accepting differences. So we are built like this. We walk into a classroom and there are 25 different kids. Right?
Yes.
And we have to honor all 25 with all of their different sets of needs, wants, desires, ways to be loved, ways to be appreciated, ways to be hugged or touched or not touched or whatever, because we need all 25 to perform at their highest level. So a teacher's job is to figure it out and make it work. A teacher, the most unsuccessful teachers are the ones who don't honor the differences in their students. And the most frustrated teachers are the teachers who don't honor the differences in their students. So that translates into our society. So, yeah, I believe people are genuinely frustrated when they have to make changes that don't necessarily benefit them but benefit others. Now, everyone is not like that. There are some really good people out there who do want to make the world a better place for everyone. But to those who don't, move out of our way.
Yes! Get out of the way. Okay, just saying. And for the folks on the sidelines, I guess, is what has been very challenging to really address over the last few months and realize that, not for the fact that 10 to 15 million people just opted out. That's hard too. And then we get into these arguments. This is happening on my Facebook page for this show, talking about democracy. And I know that you affirm, your organization affirms a dedication to democracy. There's this argument. I mean, I never in my life until the last couple of years ever heard anyone say, well, we don't actually live in a democracy. Holy cats. What is happening there, Dr. Steele?
Well, people are just genuinely uneducated about civics. So Civics 101 is a required course for all North Carolina students. Hopefully it is around the nation, right? But people are just confused about words and terms and terminology, and they don't realize what they're saying. So that's really the only reasonable explanation I have for someone saying we don't live in a democracy. The reason why they probably think that also is because they hadn't had to live in any other place. So if we ship them off to a country where communism is the practice and the course of how they do business, then they would probably be more appreciative of what we have in the United States, even with its flaws.
Yes. Agreed, 1,000%. So tell us how the New North Carolina project came into being. What was the genesis of this?
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned I was a principal, so I ran for office for the North Carolina House of Representatives because I got so frustrated with the North Carolina General Assembly telling us as principals how we needed to legislate class size or have class sizes be kind of the thing that we focus on, which means that we would have to reduce class sizes in kindergarten through third grade, but then see the class sizes swell in fourth and fifth grade. And then, of course, that had a negative impact in middle school and also in high school. So that was frustrating to me. It was frustrating that I had to move 3 teachers before school started after they'd already set their classrooms for open house. And we had to form like a human chain to move these teachers' rooms around to make room for more teachers to honor the class size legislation. So I got frustrated with that in August of 2017, and then it happened again in November of 2017. And I asked my assistant superintendent, who did this? Like, who made these stupid rules? And she said, that would be the North Carolina General Assembly. I said, well, someone needs to fix it. And she said, sounds like that's you. And I decided the next month to run for the North Carolina House of Representatives. I had no idea how to run a race or what I was getting myself into. I also didn't know that I was running in a Republican, gerrymandered Republican district where I was favored to lose by 10,000 votes or 11 points. I had no clue. So I started running for office and realized quickly that I could not run for office full-time and be a full-time principal.
Yeah.
So I resigned at the end of the school year to make room for running for office because I believed in me. I believed in what I stood for, and I believed that I could fix public education in North Carolina. So I ran. I lost by 1,978 votes, even though I was expected to lose by 10,000.
Sure.
So that taught me that if you stand up a field operation, get a bunch of volunteers, raise a little bit of money, then hopefully you can try to turn out people to vote, and they would vote. So that's what I did in 2018. I did it again in 2020. Now with COVID, that was a whole different ball game. We had expected to run a more aggressive field operation and knock and call at least 100,000 people or 100,000 times. We did 18,000 in 2018, so we expected to do about 100 in 2020. Well, we were grounded after COVID, started. We were grounded. All I could do was raise money. So in 2018, I raised about 80,000, met with about 70,000 in kind from the party, and that led me to right at between 140 to 150. In 2020, I raised about 1.3 million.
Oh my God!
So just to give you the contrast,
yes,
between the 2 years. So at that point, my race was considered a race that could be flipped because we had done the work in 2018, but it still was not enough.
It was COVID
because
too.
We did knock and COVID exactly. So I got 9,000 more votes, but I still lost by 2,800 or 2,900. So after the race, I was just debriefing. And, debriefing with all the groups that had endorsed me and, organizations, et cetera. And I was also following the Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff races in Georgia. Plus, I was following Stacey Abrams and her gubernatorial bid. So I was so excited for all the things that I was hearing about Stacey, about New Georgia Project, about Fair Fight, about all the things, that I just kept doing research. And people started saying, oh, you're going to start an organization like Stacey Abrams, aren't you? And I said, no. First of all, I'm just out here trying to debrief the election, and I don't want anything else to do with politics. And then January 6th happened. And after that, I had a conversation with someone 3 days later, and we talked about what is wrong with the politics of North Carolina and what are some ways we can fix it. And that led to me founding New North Carolina Project and New North Carolina Project Action First. So May of 2021, I filed paperwork. I'm the sole founder of both organizations. And I then started working with some of my staff. One of my closest friends and first hires is my current COO. Her name is Bree. And together we have led this organization since 2021.
I want to come down and work with you. I love this story.
Come on down.
Amazing. Absolutely. We're going to find ways to come down and work with you in North Carolina. I know we have a friend, Todd Belcourt, who works with Social Change. I'm going to find out what kind of work he's doing in North Carolina, and hopefully connect with you as well to uplift the work that you're doing. And I know that you have the 4 pillars. Tell us a little bit about the 4 pillars of the New North Carolina Project.
Yes. So one thing you said earlier about people and their desire to vote, when we were out in 2022 campaigning, running, our ground game and hiring all of our organizers and everything, we knocked about 48,000 doors to touch about 66,000 people. And the biggest thing we learned was that people don't care about voting as much as we did. And so when we learned that, we actually took all of that qualitative data, and our team at the time analyzed it and put it into 8 categories. We narrowed down the 8 categories to 4 categories, and those 4 categories became the 4 pillars. So we started, instead of just focusing on political engagement, we started focusing on what would programming look like around these 4 key pillars that people told us were important to them. How can we address their needs and then convert them to become a regular lifelong voter, as opposed to going to them and only talking about voting? So that is really what started the pillar work. It was not our original design. Our original design was just around politics and getting Black and brown people to vote, because we saw that more than 1 million people did not show up for the election in 2020. So our sole purpose in being founded was to help turn out Black and brown voters. But then when we got out there and started working, people told us they weren't that interested in voting. They were actually interested in child care costs, economic things, energy bills. That was the biggest. Like their power and gas bills were higher than the rent and the mortgage. We heard that so many times. So then we used all of that information and came up with the 4 pillars, which are economic mobility, public safety, civic engagement, and housing security. Under the housing security, we started working with the National Renewable Energies Lab and the Department of Energy, and now we are able to replace people's HVAC systems, upgrade their refrigerator if needed, their hot water heater, and then also make weatherization upgrades to make their homes tighter and more energy efficient. That saves people money on their heating bill, their gas bills, power bills, and it also helps them to see how they can stay in their homes and increase their housing security because they're decreasing their bills. So all of that is the work that we now do, and then it's inclusive of voting for sure, but we run a signature program under each of our 4 pillars.
Incredible. I'm kind of girl crushing on you and this organization. This is extraordinary.
Thank you.
Well, here, let me tell you why, because we had a listener in our last hour from Detroit who, we talk about all the things that are happening, and they are flooding the zone with all these moves and executive orders, and we won't get into it, but they're like, look, you're telling us all the bad things. What can we do? And here, folks, hear us. This is what you can do, is support New North Carolina Project. How do folks get involved? How can they support the work that you're doing, whether it's getting down to North Carolina, sending contributions, learning more about you? Tell us what we can do.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing to do is to go to our website. So we have 2. It's NNCP. So New North Carolina Project, or you can spell it all the way out. But nncp.org, and then nncpaf, actionfirst.org. So go to our website, look at the pillars, sign up to volunteer, make a donation, become a monthly sustainer. That will help tremendously, because much of our funding, especially for our energy program, was coming from the Department of Energy. Well, you know what's happening with government funding right now, especially grants and all sorts of government programs. They're frozen, right? Even though they're not really frozen, they're now still frozen because people are scared to really take action. So you can make a donation to help support our energy efficiency program or any of our other programs. So that's the kind of first set of things. The second set of things would be to go to our social media. So you can find us at New NC Projects on all social media platforms. That's New NC Projects on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and LinkedIn. And on those channels, follow us, like us, subscribe, and just, stay engaged with what we're doing. So those are the ways you can support. And we're also having a series of town halls monthly. So you can come to our first town hall next week and any subsequent town hall.
Are these virtual, or are they in person only?
All town halls are virtual. Yes.
Oh, excellent, folks. Tune in for those so we can learn more and find out how we can help. I am so honored to meet you and excited to build this relationship. I just messaged my friend Todd Belcourt so we can hopefully coordinate and offer support in any way we can. And please, let's make this a regular conversation so folks can be engaged, informed, and really help you in any way we can.
We would love that. I would love that. That would be great. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for having me on your show.
My pleasure. We'll do it again. That's Dr. Aimy Steele. Go to newnorthcarolinaproject.org, and you can find out all the social media, how to volunteer, how to donate, and we are going to talk to you again, Doctor. Have a great evening, and thank you again for all the work you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Let's take a break here, and I think I'm just going to be able to say goodbye when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
In a new Porsche, performance, style, and class come together to elevate every drive. Come find your new Porsche from the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park today. Stop in to test drive the latest models, including a new 2025 Porsche Cayenne. And right now, lease a new 2025 Macan for $899 a month for 39 months. Visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. 8729 to its signing. Excludes tax, title, license, and dock fee. No security deposit required. Expires 2/28/25.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Thank you so much for joining us and our friends on KTNF AM 950. And, of course, our sponsor of the show, Source Solar. Go to source.solar for more information. Your source for solar in Illinois. Adam Selzer's a virtual tour starts at 8 o'clock. Go to Mysterious Chicago. Randy Rhodes is up next, following Matt McNeil. Lady B, thank you for everything. I know I'm late. Love you all.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find an amazing candidate fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.